Good afternoon, class. As you know me, I'm your teacher, Mr. Silva, and this is classroom 204. Today we're going to talk about the atom bomb. The last week or two, we've been talking about World War II and the United States' involvement. Today we're going to talk about the bomb that effectively ended the war in the Pacific. So, for starters, I had you guys some homework. Your homework is to do three things. First, you're going to respond to Harry Truman's quote, which is on the next slide, in 3 complete sentences or more. If you're feeling cool and you feel like you want to help Mr. Silva out, please write more than 3 sentences. I'd love to see the effort. Second thing I want you guys to do is to watch this video and PowerPoint and take notes. I want you to take notes in the Stanford style that we discussed during class last week. And third, after completing the response, watching the video, taking notes, I want you to take a piece of paper, fold it in half, a left-hand column and a right-hand column. Remember, columns go up and down, not east and west. And on each side, on the left side, I want you to label yes and say why it was a good decision to drop the atom bomb. On the right-hand side, I want you to label no and say why. Give me at least 3 reasons why it was a bad idea to drop the atom bomb. Also, all these will be collected during the beginning of class. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me during the weekend. I'll be sure to respond because, I just watch Netflix and I don't have a life. All right, so let's start off with the quote. I want you guys to pause at this part, read the quote, think about it for a minute, and then in 3 complete sentences, respond. All right, I'll let you guys get to that. All right, so last week we talked about a date which will live in infamy, which is the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. As we discussed in class, Pearl Harbor's attack was what drew the United States officially into World War II in the Pacific. So as we mentioned at Pearl Harbor, there was a massive Japanese aerial attack on the base. So now we're in the war. Let's review the war in the Pacific. So you have the attack on Pearl Harbor that begins the war in the Pacific. You have the United States strategy of island hopping, or jumping from island to island, taking strategic points. Now, as we mentioned, I found statistics the other day. The fighting in the Pacific was a lot worse than in Europe. It was a lot more hand-to-hand combat, very close together, and it was very violent. In the time the U.S. fought the war in Japan, 250,000 men were wounded in action, and 110,000 died or went missing. So, towards the end of the war, or towards the beginning of the war, we have what's called the Manhattan Project, started by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who's president at the time. This project essentially is to develop a nuclear bomb. So there are 3 locations. The first one's in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Hanford, Washington, and Los Alamos, New Mexico. Los Alamos is most famous because it's where the final success test of the bomb happened. So during this project, the people who worked, scientists, hand crews, yada, 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 were the people who built the atom bomb. So on July 16th, 1945, at the Trinity site near Alamogordo, New Mexico, we had the first successful test of a nuclear weapon. Now, this operation, it was completely secret. It wasn't like the whole public knew we were developing this huge bomb. So on the left-hand side, you see this picture. It says what you see here, what you do here, what you hear here. When you leave here, let it stay here. It was a top secret operation that no one in the United States knew about. All right, so I just want to remember how important that is, top secret. So the ultimate decision, you can go on Google and search a million different ways, yes or no, about the atom bomb. Let's just cover a few. So yes, one of the reasons why people said yes, we should use the bomb is because it saved lives. It said it saved both Japanese and American lives. The reason it said it saved lives is because if the United States continued this island hopping, they would have had to invade mainland Japan, which would be extremely costly. So on the no side, the bomb is inhumane and immoral. This bomb is not just a regular bomb that explodes and that's it. There's also radiation, and you can find anything you want on the internet about nuclear bombs and find images of what that kind of things nuclear radiation can do to somebody. So next is on the yes side. The Japanese refused to surrender. So as we talked about in class, we talked about Bushido, the Japanese being very fierce warriors and just refusing to give in. This is one of the biggest reasons why the Americans thought we could drop the bomb, they would convince them to end the war, and the war in the Pacific would finally, after such a long, bloody war, would be over. On the side of that, though, another reason for no is there are some alternatives to dropping the bomb. You could seek diplomatic options, which wasn't a really popular opinion at the time. You could firebomb, you could not atom bomb, or you could just normally bomb, or you could keep fighting the Japanese. So the third reason is that in World War II, you see this escalation of bombing of cities, bombing of citizens. So it's not very uncommon for a country to bomb someone else in the city. On the no side, some people say that the bomb was used not to defeat Japan, but to prove to Russia that the U.S. was a powerful nation. At this time, there's some tension between the United States and Russia about who's going to kind of lead the world after the war is over. So some people said that this is a statement by the United States to Russia. The next one, why not? The U.S. gave Japan the chance to surrender. They warned them that there was a successful test, and they said, you have a chance now to surrender before we drop this bomb, and Japan declined. The last point I want is that on the original bomb, it was built as a defense weapon in case someone else had one. It wasn't built to use in an offensive way like we did. So here are just 4 options, but they're also, if you go online, you can find a million other ones on why to or why to not drop the atom bomb. And so the ultimate decision, if you know your history, if you guys pay attention in class, that's from above. We have the dropping of atom bombs twice. You have the first one on August 6, 1945 in Hiroshima, which kills over 66,000 people, not to mention radiation that comes within the following weeks and years of it. The second bomb, which is not as deadly, but still really bad, was at Nagasaki, another Japanese city. That one happened 3 days later on August 9th, 1945. So the ultimate legacy of these 2 bombs being dropped is that it forced Japan to surrender. Japan was so destroyed by losing over 150,000 civilians to radiation, to the bomb itself, that they had no choice to but surrender and give in to the United States. So look at the picture on the right. It's the famous picture of Generals Douglas MacArthur and Jonathan Wainwright watching the Japanese general as he signed the official document aboard the USS Missouri that's surrendering to the United States. So in summary, if you guys would like to watch this video, it's a video on YouTube. I want you guys to fast forward to about 8:57 and stop at 11:07. Now, as for class, in class, we're going to have a debate on whether or not to drop the atom bomb. We're going to set up our classroom in a style as if it was a government, and we're going to split up into 2 sides, one that says yes, drop it, and one that says no, do not do it. And we're going to debate. And maybe there will be a little extra points for the team that wins on the quiz next week. So that is your homework for the weekend. This shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. Please take good notes, and please, if you need to, go back, watch it again. Don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Enjoy the weekend. Get some sleep. Eat some food. Have a good time. I'll see you guys on Monday morning bright and early.